YAHUAH'S breath. This is a huge, beautiful tree, right? But how do you know? Trees in scripture represented humans, just like mountains and water and different things could represent a human because it's a parable. And he doesn't give out all of the messages all the time. But so many people, if you look at this tree looks really nice and beautiful and well kept up. And that canopy is really big. And it's an old tree. The neighborhood area that I'm in was built in the late 60s. And so it's been around a while. But you see this? The limb fell off of that tree because the insides were all rotten. How many people do you know that are like this? And could it be you or could it be somebody else? Check yourself, question yourself, and watch others and see what kind of fruit that they have. These trees like this really look nice on the outside, just like many people do. And they'll look nice, but you know, the only one that knows them and knows their heart is Yahuwah. So they could be talking to you and be a wolf in sheep's clothing. And, you know, trying to tear you down and put you down and take your money and all that. But yet they're beautiful people on the outside. And a lot of these, if you think about back in high school and the guys, who'd they go after? They went after all the nice looking girls. They were built cute and everything. But then they were actually kind of superficial. And then there were the guys. They had the really nice cars, the fast cars. Maybe their parents were wealthy. And the girls looked at the guys and went after that. So it was really superficial on both sides a lot of times. We must always check ourselves to see how we're doing and how others perceive us. Critique ourselves. And then pray to the Father when you figure out that you've got something different and that you need to get rid of it. So petition the Father, ask for forgiveness, pray to Him in the name, power, blood, and authority of YAHUSHA HaMashiach. Yehukanan, John 7:24. Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. Matthew chapter 13, 20-21. And that sown on rocky places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived. And when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. 1 John 3:18-24. My little children, let us not love in word or in tongue, but in deed and in truth. And by this we know that we are of the truth, and shall set our hearts at rest before Him, that if our heart condemns us, Yahuwah is greater than our heart, and knows all. Beloved ones, if our heart does not condemn us, we have boldness toward Yahuwah, and whatever we ask we receive from Him, because we guard His commands, and do what is pleasing in his sight. And this is his command, that we should believe in the name of his Son, YAHUSHA, Mashiach, and love one another as he gave us command. And the one guarding his commands stays in him, and he in him. And by this we know that he stays in us, by the Ruach which he gave us. Now, spiritual emptiness. Ephesians 5:14-21. That is why he says, "Wake up, you who sleep, and arise from the dead, and Mashiach shall shine on you. See then that you walk exactly, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the Yomim are wicked. So then do not be foolish, but understand what the desire of Yahuwah is. And do not be drunk with wine, in which is loose behavior, but be filled with the Ruach, speaking to each other in psalms and songs of praise, and Ruach-like songs, singing and striking the strings in your heart to the Master, giving thanks always for all to Yahuwah, the Father, in the name of our Master, Yahusha Mashiach, subjecting yourselves to each other in the fear of Yahuwah." One must ask themselves, are you really and truly born again? Because if you were born again, you're a new person, a new being. But if you're not born again in spirit, which is Ruach, and in the fire, so the water and the fire immersion, you are not truly filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. And just because they've immersed you in water does not mean that you have been given the Ruach HaKodesh. That's something that comes from Yahuwah and nothing else. And many people that are doing, even as chaplains, in which this is ridiculous, they do not have the Ruach HaKodesh. They have to rely on seeing what a scripture means. They do not get it in their mind from the Father Yahuwah, who is the Ruach HaKodesh. They get it from the notes from somebody else, a man or a woman. And that is just not how it's supposed to be, because they could be getting it from a demon. So instead of listening to man, try listening to the Father Yahuwah in the Ruach HaKodesh, which is the set-apart spirit. Ephesians 2:1-10. And you were dead in trespasses and sins, in which you once walked, according to the course of this world, according to the ruler of the authority of the air, of the mind that is now working in the sons of rebellion, among whom also we all once lived in the lust of our flesh, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by disposition children of wrath, as also the rest. But Yahuwah, who is rich in compassion, because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Mashiach. By favor you have been delivered, and raised us up together, and made us sit together in the heavenlies in Mashiach YAHUSHA, in order to show the coming ages the exceeding riches of his favor and kindness toward us in Mashiach YAHUSHA. For by favor you have been delivered through belief, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of Yahuwah. It is not by works, so that no one should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Mashiach YAHUSHA to good works, which Yahuwah prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them. Ephesians 4:30-32. And do not grieve the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah, by whom you were sealed for the Yom of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and displeasure and uproar and slander be put away from you, along with all evil, and be kind towards one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as Yahuwah also forgave you in Mashiach. Yehukanan John 7:37-39. And on the last Yom, the great Yom of the festival, YAHUSHA stood and cried out, saying, If anyone thirst, let him come to me, and let him who believes in me drink. As the scripture said, out of his innermost shall flow rivers of living water. And this he said concerning the Ruach, which those believing in him were about to receive. For the Ruach HaKodesh was not yet given, because YAHUSHA was not yet esteemed. So, to the conclusion, it has to be this. If you feel like this, if you feel empty, or if you see somebody that acts like the description of these scriptures, then pray for them if it is someone else, and pray for yourself. Give of yourself totally to the Father Yahuwah. We are to emulate YAHUSHA, who changed and became not just a man, he became the Father Yahuwah, because he did the works of the Father Yahuwah, and he was the only perfect one ever that lived.